All right. Hey, everyone. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes for people to join in. I'm going to start reacting to some of the stuff we've had going on this morning. Just give me like one more minute. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining day 2 free agency. Sorry, I'm starting a little later than I hoped, but uh, late night, slept in a little bit, didn't have time to prep. So by the time all the news started trickling out, had just didn't have time to set up the stream, had to start figuring this out, reacting, try to make the math work together because the most surprising move in a while, a move that requires some additional things to happen. Myles Turner not resigning with the Pacers, staying with the Bucks on like a very great contract, 4 years, 107 million. That's still less than what a lot of other centers are going to be making right now. When you think about guys like Jared Allen, for example, so he's like making as much as Nick Claxton, basically, maybe just a little bit more. Um, this is I would love to know what happened with the Pacers, um, because I don't think this is the case where the Pacers just decided, like we're just not gonna keep you because we're why can't I see my chat? Hold on. Might not be able to see the chat, everyone. For some reason, it's not showing. But yeah, I don't think they were gonna let him go because they're gonna have like a gap year. It feels like they probably lowballed him, said go find an offer because there really are no offers, and then the Bucks did a couple things to make an offer. So 4 years, 107 million. That would basically start Turner just under 25 million if at the lowest ends. So the Bucks either need to do a sign and trade, which they could have gotten done with Connaughton and Portis. I believe Portis should still be sign and traded. Hold on, I want to see why I can't see the chat. Might have to have it on. Let's see, give me a sec. Okay, here we go. Now I can see the chat. Okay, yeah. So what do the Bucks have left available? Are we sure Meach is going to leave for Europe? Yeah. So let's get through all this. So, either a sign and trade that would have involved them sending Hold on, let me see if you guys can see this. Hold on. Okay, I gotta maximize them. Yeah. So either a sign and trade involving, it could have been Connaughton and Portis to make it work, but most likely they're gonna have to give up assets. Something with Kuzma. Portis, I think, should still be trade eligible, but then the alternative is that they are going to create cap space, which would have meant clearing 30 million. They could have done that with Kyle Kuzma and one other guy, Connaughton. Instead, they are doing something I probably wouldn't want to do. They're waiving and stretching Damian Lillard. He's going to leave $22.5 million over the next 5 years. So he signed that extension with the Blazers 3 years ago. It's just kicking in today. The Bucks are waiving him on the same day this extension kicks in. Damian Lillard will not have suited up a single game, and from all the reports indicating, he'll not have given up a cent, and there's no buyout. So sucks that he tore his Achilles, but nice that he's gonna just collect all that money without suiting up. So when we were doing the stream yesterday, I put in the deals for Porter and Trent and Taurean Prince, assuming they were operating as a over the cap team. I'm going to remove those for now because I'm going to try to show how they can do cap space. And they could probably sign those. They'll be able to sign those guys after. Taurean Prince is a minimum signing. And then the terms of Kevin Porter and Trent would fit under the room exception. Yes, technically they have Trent's non-bird rights, but they're going to want to renounce his cap hold to make this work. So just want to go through this timeline. Give me 1 second. Okay. um, where was I? So yeah, none of Porter, Trent, I'm counting them. Those can work under the room mid-level. They're gonna want to waive those cap holds to maximize their cap space. So I'm only keeping Ryan Rollins cap hold because he's restricted. They give him a qualifying offer. I would guess they're gonna want to keep that so they can go over the cap to re-sign him after. They'll need a guard. Um, and they'd be able to re-sign him to like, I think they have his early bird right, so they could give him like something well above the minimum. So with all that in mind, they have only 17.8 million in cap space, could get up to 21-ish if they cut AJ Green, Andre Jackson, Chris Livingston. I don't anticipate they'll cut all of them, maybe some of them. I think they keep Green for sure. I don't know about the other two, but it's not really saving them money, so let's not look at it like that. So you stretch Lillard, you save 32 million right there. But we need to get to like 25. So to do that, now they're going to trade Pat Connaughton for Vasilije Micic. They're sending out 2 second-round picks to get it done, which is a lot to only save $1 million. So that only gets them to 19 million. But Micic is going to head back to Europe. It's been reported for a while now that that's the plan. And the fact that the Hornets got 2 second-round picks for doing this, for swapping an expiring salary for an expiring salary, and only taken on an additional 1 million, and it's only 1.3 million in savings for the Bucks, tells me that Micic is probably going to give up a significant portion in a buyout. Something I've talked to people around the league, that's the expectation. Last year we saw Sasha Vezenkov give back his entire amount when he got traded to the Raptors. I don't think Micic needs to do something quite like that, but if he were to give up all but like his minimum salary, then you're talking like him having a 2.3. I don't know what the exact amount is. What is the exact amount? Let's just say 2.3 something to be safe. Then that's it. The Bucks are pretty much there. So that's how I think it's going to go. Maybe he gives back the whole amount, but I would anticipate that he's going to give back a good amount where the Bucks will have the cap space necessary to make all this work. So then I'll just put Micic here. They can't waive and stretch Micic. Now that they waived and stretched Lillard, that's almost 15% of the salary cap, that 22.5 million. You cannot have more than 15% of stretched money on your books. So you do that, they're there. I think they're actually still just a little short, but they're a lot closer. Yeah, I forgot some incomplete cap holds, so more like 22.4. You're in the ballpark basically. They're very close to making it work. But let's just call it like this. I'll just say 20. I'll just say they're working with 22 point whatever this is. Or you know what? I'm just gonna exclude Micic entirely. Why not? Let's just say he gives back everything. Boom, 24.6. You were there, so let's give Myles Turner that full amount. What is that? 24,699. So yeah, something like this. Let's just say Turner starts at this. That's it. They are capped out. Now they can go over the cap to do their other moves. So what do they have planned? a couple now. Let's start with the obvious ones. We know they're going to sign Porter, Trent, Prince. So I'm assuming the rumored level goes to both of them. Well, yeah, that I think that fits exactly. The rumored level's 8.8. So I think we're like exactly there. So maybe Trent gets even a little more than this. Um, let's see what else. They signed Gary Harris to a 2-year minimum. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on. Okay. Where was I? So for all those joining in, I'm just making a projection on how this could all work. What I basically did is I'm going to take a step back where they brought in they don't sign Porter, Trent, and Prince and all the other guys till after their cap space. To create cap space, they waived and stretched Lillard at 22.5 million. They swapped Connaughton for Micic, but I had Micic give up a bunch of money in a buyout just for fun. I had him give up everything, like Vajenkov did with the Raptors last year. So then he has no money on the books. I'm guessing maybe he keeps some of it. We'll see, but that gives him the Bucks enough cap space to sign him to this amount. In which case, they can then go over the cap to sign all their other guys. They can sign Porter and Trent combined into the room at level. Torian is then a minimum signing, and then I haven't seen the terms of Jericho Sims. Yeah, just 2-year deal, so that's probably a minimum. I saw they're signing Gary Harris. That's also a minimum. So everything else is a minimum signing from here on out. And that's going to kind of be it for them as far as flexibility. They're not going to really be able to increase their payroll that much more. I kept Ryan Rollins' cap hold. I think they're going to renounce all free agent holds except his. They've got early bird rights on him. I think he projects to be their starting point guard now. So he might end up getting a nice payday out of this. They could give him well above the minimum. And then that would basically be the Bucks roster. So this is just one way I could see it going. It's not official. That's just a way it could go down. So that's yeah, let me refresh. Let's see what's going on. let's see what's going on here with the more stuff on the situation. Yeah, they're confirming on the Athletic what I'm saying. Prince minimum, Trent, Kevin Porter, room at level, 24 million to Turner, moving off Connaughton. Nothing about Micic yet. Okay. Yeah, guys, the moratorium, but we can start signing regular minimums and rookie scale contracts in 2 ways. So those can be official now. So I have this theory. It's very tinfoil hat. It's probably not true at all, but bear with me. So Chris Haynes reported that Giannis is not happy with the way the Damian Lillard waiving went. In all likelihood, this is what the Bucks are doing. They're doing all this. They're doing this massive wave and stretch so they can get Myles Turner with cap space, and they don't have to trade a pick. They still have their 1 first-round pick to trade in future years. But this is basically the Bucks front office last bullet to try to do something to convince Giannis to say. So you can't say they didn't try. This is a huge effort what they just did. But if for whatever reason, Giannis is upset with the process and then he wants to get traded, the Bucks come out pretty clean where they made this effort. If it's going to fall apart, so be it. But at least you got to that point in like a more natural way, I guess. I don't think it's just a dumb theory. I don't think it's true, but just wanted to put that out there. Okay, let me catch up with the chat. Hey, Yossi, I'm confused about the Knicks situation. How much room do we have left? Okay, so let's load up the Knicks. I have a projection for them. Basically, I put in Yabu. They could do another minimum signing, and then they're going to have to fit a rookie minimum. So now that they sign Yabu Sele at roughly the tax mid level, they are now hard capped to the second apron. However, this projection has them over it, so they can't exceed the second apron. So they're going to have to do a little something different. One, they can do a trade at the top, which I don't think is likely. I doubt they trade any of their top 6 guys or McBride. They could trade Dadier, but more realistically, 2 things can happen for them to fit under the second apron. They can either have Yabu take slightly less, just like, I don't know, 50,000 less, since this projection has them about 37,000 below. Or another thing they could do, which I just realized, is instead of signing a veteran minimum here, they can sign a player to, they can sign, what's his name? Kevin McCullough to his 1-year veteran minimum. Since he was their draft pick, they can give him the 1-year vet, and there's no tax variance, which means he wouldn't count as this amount. If you're not drafted by the team and you're in your 0 or first year, if you're a rookie or in your first year, you count as this no matter what. So then that would put them below the second apron. So that's another way they can go about it. I would guess that's more realistic than having Yabu Sele take a little bit less money, even though it'd be just like a very small haircut. So yeah, Knicks still, we'll see how the Knicks end up doing this. Overall, I mean, I think Yabu Sele is such a great addition for that taxpayer mid-level amount. I would see, so if you could still try to bring a wing that could shoot off the bench. I think they really need that. But I don't think there's really anybody there for the minimum for that. So even if it means if there is someone at the minimum there they can get for that, and it means instead of using that other extra spot on another rookie minimum, so like potentially both Diawara, Najee, or Rokas or something like that, I think that'd be worth it. But otherwise, I really like this signing. I think that's a fantastic signing, fantastic value for the tax mid-level. I'm not 100% sure, but I think Knicks have barely enough room for a rookie minimum, and that's it. Hey, Yossi Sets, Parno wrote on Blue Sky that any Dame deal over the minimum could offset the Bucks' liability. Yes, however, the offset wouldn't take effect until a year from now, until after this salary cap year ends. So they would get savings for sure. Like there would be some offset. It might be like $1 million or $2 million, but it's not going to happen now. So the Bucks wouldn't get any immediate cap flexibility, any additional cap place at this very moment with that offset. So that can't happen right now. Just wanted to make sure we weren't in the second apron regarding the Knicks. Yeah, Knicks are fine. They're not going to exceed the second apron. Could they do the Portis deal after the Turner deal to make it easier? No. The Bucks are. I mean, first I gotta find out. Did the Bucks I know that the Bobby Portis deal could have been an extension. I haven't heard if it's official yet. I'm gonna check right now. Okay, so they didn't extend Portis, so he's technically a free agent right now, so he's not trade eligible. So I think it would make more sense to, well, first of all, they're going to have to re-sign Bobby Portis first because they can't renounce him. I mean, they could renounce him as long as they re-sign him. They could re-sign him with their cap space. They'd have enough cap space, but 3 for 44, I believe. Okay, I'm going to fix Bobby Portis's number because that has him with 5% raises, which starts him higher. So he's probably starting with, oh no, that is what he's starting with. Yeah. So at the lowest end, Bobby Portis can get this based on the terms of 3 for 44. So was that more or less than his player option? I mean, either way, it doesn't matter. They'll use cap space to re-sign Bobby Portis as well. So they'll have enough cap space technically to sign both Turner and Bobby Portis. But I already had Bobby Portis figured in. Let's see. As a Bucks fan, are we cooked? I don't think this is worth stretching Lillard for this amount. I think this is by far the biggest stretch in history. Give me a sec. Yeah, I understand, like, okay, you were able to get Myles Turner without trading an asset, technically just 2 second-round picks to help get off Connaughton, but I don't think having this for 5 years is going to be, even with the set-off, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's going to be worth it. don't want to be too pessimistic, because at the same time, I don't think Myles Turner is really helping the Bucks, this Bucks roster get them in a position to truly contend in the East. I still feel like they're kind of in like that third tier where you got the Cavs at the top, you've got Knicks. I mean, Pacers are out of it now, so who's there with the Knicks? I think Knicks are then like a tier of their own, number two. And then you've got like Hawks, I suppose Magic, Pistons, and then after that I might say the Bucks. So seeing how I don't think this really raised their title odds that much, I don't think this was worth the stretch. Mamu 2-year vet with the Raptors. Okay. Could Bucks be the Cole Anthony team? Just eat his deal. Just seems kind of good for both. No, they need to save money. They don't have enough cap space for Cole at this point. It would have to be a trade if they're trading somebody else. Who can they trade? If they can get off Kuzma somehow, but Grizzlies can't take in Cole. They need to save money completely. Can they keep AJ Green? Yeah, I think the Bucks keep AJ Green. Can you review the Hornets cap situation? All these moves are confusing me. Sure. Charlotte, they just went ahead and swapped Micic for Pat Connaughton. So they've made a lot of these 1-for-1 trades. They traded Nurkic for Sexton. They traded Mark Williams for Micic and some picks. Then they just flipped Micic and for Connaughton and some picks. So good work from the Hornets, just getting more picks. And now they have really no center depth. It's probably the worst center rotation in the league. You got Mason, Musa, and is that it? Yeah. That's their big man. That's their center rotation after trading Nurkic and Mark Williams. But they still have more room to do more of these trades. A lot of tax base, 19 million below the tax, it looks like. So Hornets could still do some more of these salary dump moves. Don't need these. Maybe Hardaway for the Knicks if he doesn't get snapped up. I just a prediction. I think the Pistons at this point re-sign Hardaway. Here's what they've got going on now. Sounds like they're going to be an over the cap team. Doesn't really make sense for them to have cap space at this point. They could sign LeVert with cap space, but they'll have more spending room if they give him the mid-level, and then they have all the rights to all their free agents. So that includes Hardaway, Schroeder, Beasley if he's cleared from this. They already re-signed Paul Reed. So they could potentially still sign and trade Schroeder to the Kings. The Kings have a trade exception that could fit Schroeder, and that would preserve the Kings mid-level. And if the Pistons send out Schroeder, then that opens up sign and trade possibilities. For example, if they want to bring in Duncan Robinson, you can do Schroeder for Duncan. Or the other way around, you sign and trade Schroeder into the Kings trade exception. They create a trade exception, and then the Heat can sign and trade Duncan Robinson into it. And then they could still re-sign Hardaway. So I think that's how the Pistons are trying to do this right now. They went from being over the cap team to then for like 24 hours, they were going to be a cap space team. And I think this is how the Pistons are going to do all this now. Amir Coffee. Yeah. Mamu 2-year minimum. Can you do Pistons? Yep, just did the Pistons. How would the Heat be able to sign Lillard? Minimum, basically. Lillard's about to, like, I don't think there's been, like, I don't think people have, like, really sunk in. I don't think it's really sunk in that Damian Lillard, he signed this extension with the Blazers 3 years ago 2 years, 113 million. It takes effect today, and he's not going to suit up a single day for it. I don't think whatever he does next is for the money. He's making $113 million for 0 games. Yeah, their offset might take away a couple million, but not much. So whoever signs Lillard, I figure it's gonna be at the minimum. But if that's the case, if you're Lillard, do you need to join a team right now? You could just take some time. If that's all you're getting, the minimum, just take a year off, rehab, enjoy life, figure out your situation later. Maybe in a year there's more, the market will be different. Maybe there will be offers at above the minimum for him. So I don't see the Heat going above the minimum to bring in the Lillard right now, with their cap situation. They still need to figure out what to do with Duncan Robinson. They could either re-sign him with their remaining tax space. I do not see them using more than the minimum on Lillard at the moment. Any chance the Pacers could consolidate more? With contention out of the question this year, do they look to move Siakam's long-term money? Like the very first thing I was saying in regards to the Pacers is I really want to know what happened. I have my theories. Sounds like they made him some lowball offer and they said, go find an offer, go find something bigger, with the idea that there is nothing bigger, only the Nets can. And the Bucks made something bigger. They made it happen. And I don't think the Pacers probably even know what to do right now. I don't think anyone in the league saw this coming. Because stretching Lillard's money, it's crazy. I don't think most teams would have done that. Yeah, just another confirmation that Lillard isn't giving back any money. So now the Pacers, thank God they got their pick back. First of all, they have their own first-round pick in 2026. I still think they'll probably be pushing for a playing spot. Maybe they're in that Hawks, Bulls, not the Hawks, like that Bulls tier with no Halliburton and no Turner. And you've got Siakam, Nembhard. If you still have all these other guys, they're all playing a little better. I mean, it's gonna. I'm squinting really hard trying to get them in the play-in range, but they have no center right now. They have the full mid-level. They can get a center with the mid-level or through a trade. They've got the restricted rights for Isaiah Jackson. Now I wonder if he comes back on something pretty nice. Maybe he ends up getting above the minimum because the Pacers don't really have many options. Could they now be a DeAndre Ayton team? We know the Pacers, they signed DeAndre Ayton to the max offer sheet that he just got bought out of on. So clearly there's an interest there. Everyone's pointing to the Lakers having Ayton and Luka sharing the same agent. Well, guess what? Benedict Mathurin and Ayton share the same agent. So, I mean, I don't know if this helps Mathurin. I suppose it might help him now. That's another thing. Now that Turner's money's not there, maybe Mathurin even has a bigger chance of getting extended. Like, this completely changes what the Pacers offseason is supposed to be. But step one, I think they're going to try to find a center, some stop-back center. Maybe it's Ayton. They cannot technically offer more for Ayton than the Lakers. Lakers can only offer that $8.3 million mid-level. The alternative would be if they restructure Jake LaRavia's contract and make it a 3-year deal. So then they acquire him in a sign and trade, and then they could offer Aiden the full mid level. Otherwise, they could only offer Aiden the 8.3 million remaining. So technically, if money matters, the Pacers do have an advantage in signing Aiden. Have you heard anything about Quentin Grimes restricted free agency? Nothing. There's been nothing. No reports about what's going to happen there. I think the Sixers, I said it yesterday. I think they'll probably, they bring him. They don't mind. It would put him into the tax bringing him back, but they have a logjam at the guard. Maybe they're looking to get a nice sign and trade out of it. Lillard can lay back and chill. I agree. I feel like he'd probably enjoy rehabbing with some friends somewhere, maybe Portland to be near his kids. Dame on Dallas, I like. I feel like it would be so easy for the Pacers to clear space to match that deal while they just let him go. Yeah, this is why I feel like maybe this is the case where whatever they offered may have insulted him, where he just accepted this deal with the Bucks, and if the Pacers just came back, okay, here, we'll give you a serious offer, maybe it's just like too late. Who knows? Pacers are fools, should have locked down Turner. Pacers are fools, should have locked. Yeah, turning down Bradley's team option. Any one of Toppin, McConnell, Mathurin gives you space to match, and leftover from, I don't know. No one could replace what Turner did. Can Indy play in for be in play for Claxton? Yeah. You want to try to package one of Toppin and McConnell. How can they do this? They could try to sign and trade Jackson as part of it. They could make it happen, but if I'm the Pacers, don't want to give up too much. If you're the Pacers, would you do Toppin and I think I gotta do Toppin and like another guy, maybe Shepard. That might make the money work. And Bradley. That's interesting. But I'm keeping an eye on Aiden now. I mean, they were the team that technically paid Aiden a lot of money. Pacers just go full circle and trade Siakam for Sabonis. Let's go crazy. I don't think the Pacers are going to do that. I think that ship has sailed. I wonder if Pacers just take 1 year flyer on Vucevic and figure it out later. A little easier to trade for Claxton, but who are you giving up? Feels like they overvalue a lot of their guys. Oh, you know what? I just realized though the Pacers, they could sign and trade Turner to the Bucks, in which case they can use Myles Turner as a trade exception to get Claxton or another center. I'm sure the Bucks might not have a problem with that if they get an asset out of it. Maybe Grimes to Detroit in the sign and trade. I mean, the Pistons already traded Quentin Grimes. I feel like that ship has sailed. If they sign any center with long-term salary, then Mathurin is also just gone because they aren't paying the tax. I'm really curious to know what this means for Mathurin with Myles Turner's money gone, no Halliburton next year. Maybe there's a future for Mathurin now in Indiana. Um. Okay. Let's refresh. Nothing. Okay. Let me check the chat. Um. Sign Ayton. I would keep an eye on it. The Bucks trade was good. The Buck just look good with Turner and Giannis. They are both good defenders. I'm just not inspired enough by this. Like, you're getting Brook Lopez, like younger Brook Lopez, but like, but like not as impactful as a rim protector. Still very impactful as a rim protector. But yeah, more or less, like, I don't know. Like, I think Brook Lopez 2 years ago when he was runner up for Defensive Player of the Year, I don't think Turner's ever reached that peak. I don't anticipate him to, but more or less the Bucks got their younger Brook Lopez replacement. So that is a positive way to look at this. If I'm Milwaukee, I keep Portis extended trade eligible by having him opt in. And well, yeah, I mean, it looks like he didn't officially opt in or extend ahead of yesterday. That was the last day for him to do that. So it sounds like he just opted out. And sounds like he just opted out, and he's gonna be a free agent and re-sign with the Bucks as part of their cap space. So with the projection I was doing about 20 minutes ago, they would technically open up enough cap space to sign both Turner and re-sign Bobby Portis. Yeah, the Bucks still have a first to trade, a 2032. Is it? They could trade a 2031 or 32, and then they could alternatively do a 31 and 32 swap. A 31 unprotected and a 32 swap if they want to do more stuff, be more aggressive. Are the Pacers a real threat to sign Aiden now? If money's important, then I would say yeah, because in my eyes now, I guess Pacers and Lakers represent the two best opportunities for Aiden. As I was saying like 10 minutes ago, the Pacers now can give Aiden the full mid-level, where the Lakers only have about 8.3 million of it remaining after signing LaRavia. So if they want to open the full mid-level for Aiden, then at this point they're gonna want to try to structure LaRavia's contract as a sign and trade, which technically can't be done right now because it's a 2-year contract. So if they want to modify it to make it 3 years and then get Sacramento involved to do something, then that's basically the blueprint for the Lakers to open up the full mid-level for Aiden, if money matters. Aiden only gave back 10 million in his buyout. I would anticipate that whatever Aiden does, it's a short-term deal, like a 1+1. So like, I just think it's a matter of what Aiden views as the best opportunity. If he thinks it's the Lakers, I don't think the fact that he would make 6 million less is gonna than the Pacers is really gonna make a huge meaningful difference in that decision, because he's in all likelihood gonna try to hit the open market next year. Feels like the Bucks should make a call about Brogdon in free agency and see if they can flip Kuzma for a guard or wing. Maybe Kuz to the Kings or Bulls. I mean, I don't think the Bucks I think the Bucks are gonna have to package that 2031 or 2032 first if they're gonna move off Kuzma at this point for someone who could really improve the team and be a better fit, whether it's another wing or a different guard. So now after these moves, they're gonna be like, I don't know, 25 million below the tax, because I'm missing some signings. I didn't put Sims, I didn't put Harris, so let's just say they're like 25 under the tax. So they could trade. They have the flexibility within the first apron to package, like, to do Kuzma, trade him for like a $30 million player. They could do something like that. Um, I don't know who that is where that makes it worth it. Maybe Kuminga? I don't, but then where does Kuzma go? I don't think the Warriors want Kuzma. Yeah, I don't think Kuminga's a good fit now, actually. I think you need more shooting. Even though you did get a shooter with Turner, I think they need some more. Getting a team to take on Kuzma's 2 years while bringing back a good player would be tough. Even with that first, Kuzma's just that bad. Yeah. But also finding a guy who can hit threes reliably and defend at a high level, that's another challenge in itself. I mean, I don't know. Let's look around the league. Who is that player? Who can they bring in? I mean, the Nuggets just got Cam Johnson. Porter Jr. makes too much money. Like, who are the available wings right now the Bucks can get? Norman Powell? I do want to comment on what the Clippers have been doing. They re-signed Harden to that 2-year deal with a non-guarantee on the player option second year. They signed Brook Lopez. I know Batum has a team option. Hold on, let me check. Yeah, here, I'm going to pull up their 2027 sheet. Why isn't it showing up? Oh. Yeah, here's what I've got right now where for 27 where Harden's supposed to have a big it's like it's supposed to be a partial guarantee. Bogdanovich has a team option, Batum has a team option. Dunn is technically non-guaranteed. It sounds like Lopez's second year is guaranteed. So if let's say Harden's partial guarantee is like maybe 10 million, something like that, the Clippers are still in a position to have like 50 million in cap space next summer. So they've done a good job at they've done a pretty good job at maximizing their 2026 cap space that's still in play for them. But so I bring that up because that would mean Norman Powell doesn't get an extension. He is on the last year of this deal, 20.5 million. I'd keep an eye out. Maybe he can be available. Could be nice for the Bucks. But the Clippers wouldn't want to bring back Kuzma because he's got another year left on his deal. Okay, let's see what else. What about Russ? Russ for who? I am not trading Norman Powell for Kyle Kuzma, Clipper fan. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they do that. I'm just saying I think the Clippers could look to trade Powell in general. Is there a cursed world where the Bucks get PG-13? If they trade Lillard, that's really the only way. Would Bucks take on Pat Williams' deal if they can get Dosunmu or Kobe White? Interesting. So the Bulls are a Kuminga team, supposedly. So maybe there's something to be done where they send out Patrick Williams as a salary filler to bring in Kuminga. I don't know what the war, and then yeah, you could bring in Pat Williams if you're the Bucks if you just want to bring in some forward. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I can't really. It sounds complicated, but Yeah, maybe there's something between Bulls, Bucks, Warriors that can happen. Sorry if you touched on this already, but if the Pistons acquired Duncan Robinson, would have to be via sign and trade. Most likely. So yeah, I don't mind going over it again. So the Pistons, it was thought they were going to be a cap space team. Now I'm not anticipating they won't be. They just don't really have enough cap space to sign both LeVert and potentially Duncan Robinson, even if they salary dump Simone Fontecchio. So what I think they're trying to do right now is they're going to structure Karis LeVert as a mid-level signing, which means they're operating over the salary cap. So then they could also re-sign all their other guys, like Tim Hardaway, Schroeder, who now just left, Malik Beasley. They were trying to structure Schroeder as a sign and trade, either to get Malik Monk, but it sounds like the Kings. I saw Mark Stein just tweeted that the Kings are just going to sign him outright. So that sign and trade is out of the possibility now, but it could still happen where the Pistons could sign and trade Schroeder and structure a multi-team trade where they're sending out Schroeder and bringing in Duncan Robinson for his money, or they can sign and trade Schroeder to the Kings, create a trade exception, then take in Duncan Robinson with that trade exception. But sounds like that possibility might be off the table based on what the Kings are doing. Signing Schroeder outright would eliminate sign and trade possibilities. Hold on. Okay. Any chance Laravia deal is actually the tax mid-level, since that would be 2 for 12, which would open up using DFS outgoing salary from a sign and trade to acquire players elsewhere? I mean, it sounds like based on all the reporting, like what Dave McMenamin said on ESPN in his reporting, is that it is a pure 2 for 12 going into the non-tax mid-level. So in that case, he's be giving up a little bit of money in the short term. So if it wouldn't really make sense for Jake LaRavia at this point. I'm saying that the best thing the Lakers can do to open up the full mid-level would be to modify the agreement of LaRavia's contract, turn that into a 3-year deal, maybe just partially guarantee the last year. That way it can be signed and traded, and then they can and then they send that, maybe as part of that they send out Dorian Finney-Smith to make the money work. They could bring in another player that way, and then they still have the full mid-level for Aiden or whoever else that might be. With most of the league-wide available cap space gone, where does Grimes get an offer from? Do the Bucks have enough to outbid Philly? Bucks would have to do a sign and trade. I think Quentin Grimes, wherever he goes, to sign and trade at this point. And the Sixers would probably not want to take back any money. They just want picks, maybe a player on a rookie contract. Like I think Atlanta could make some sense. Who else makes sense? So Milwaukee, yeah, they'd have to probably trade their remaining first to package Kuzma to get a team interested to make that work. It'd be very complicated. Yeah. The Clippers look pretty scary. 50-win team with Kawhi playing half the season, having no good backup to Zubats. Now they have a good backup, and Kawhi is going to season fully healthy for once. On paper, this looks really nice, but they're also the old got older. This team is this not the oldest team in the league? Like they should be. Yeah, they'll be good. They'll make it back to the playoffs for sure. But I don't think they really like improve their ceiling. Like I don't think bringing in Brook Lopez necessarily in theory, could help. Probably is a reaction to losing to the Nuggets in the first round. I don't think that's going to get them over the top against them, especially after the Nuggets just brought in Cam Johnson. They swapped Dario Saric for Jonas Valanciunas. Really, really interesting offseason by the Nuggets. I went over it yesterday. I think that's a very big price to pay to go from Porter Jr. to Johnson. Like, that's the kind of trade you make if you might have some intel, or like you kind of get, based on, you have Porter Jr. all the time. Like, is his back about to really like start to deteriorate? Is that shoulder injury worse than anticipated? Like, to trade your a pick that far out in the future for this type of trade kind of feels to me like they kind of feel that Porter Jr. might be starting to decline for good. So it's also financially motivated. They saved $17 million, which opened up the full mid-level, got them under the tax, the aprons, all that good stuff. Allowed them to trade Dario Saric straight up for Jonas Valanciunas. That wouldn't have been allowed had they not saved money in that Porter Jr. trade first. So, nice that they were able to do that swap without giving up any assets. That was a financially motivated move by the Kings. They just wanted to save $5 million. So they don't have to trade Malik Monk to save money to fit Dennis Schroeder. So overall, very, like, as far as this season is concerned, very nice way the Nuggets have turned it around. As for the long run, I mean, it's still, I think long run, they just leveraged themselves a lot more. That was their last tradable first round pick. They have 3 outgoing future picks. I think they only have like 1 second round pick to trade at the moment. But what did the Porter Jr. trade do as well? That's super significant. It opened up a lot of flexibility for them to extend Christian Brown and Peyton Watson. I haven't updated this to put Jonas yet, but he will be non-guaranteed next year, so I would expect that they'll cut him. And then they have about $30 million below the second apron. They'll probably still need to do a little bit more moves. Maybe it's trade Zeke Naji, and then they could have enough space to extend both Christian Brown and Peyton Watson while staying under the second apron. So that's another thing to consider, that the the Nuggets now have a lot more future flexibility as well. Is Kuzma for Grimes an option? I mean, that'd have to be multiple teams, because I don't think the Sixers are taking back Kuzma even with the first. Yabu's gone from the Sixers. How do they pivot at the 4 position? Drummond apparently on the block. Thoughts? I don't know. I don't know what the Sixers do exactly. Because even if they trade Drummond, they still don't open up the full mid-level. Like, they can't really use the whole thing. There's no one really there available. I think at this point, you can try to trade Grimes, get some picks back. Maybe you can package Oubre and Drummond for your 4. Get an inexpensive 4, like a Dorian Finney-Smith type would have been great. I'd be fairly surprised. Like, I kind of get the opportunity if they wanted to bring in Kuzma with getting a 2032 pick as well, and then you have Kuzma with them, but it'd be a questionable fit. I wouldn't rule it out. Definitely not the worst fit compared to many of the other teams I just mentioned. But it'd be something like that. You try to bring in like a $15 to $20 million power forward through these 2 guys. I see Lakers seemingly don't want to be a tax team, so I don't think they'll spend anymore. That's not necessarily true. They've been in the tax. I think they'll go up into the second apron, the first apron. He'd have that trade exception. Could make sense for Grimes. Yeah. Not only that, I could see them swapping Terry Rozier for John Collins. If they lose Duncan Robinson, then yeah, that would make sense to use that $16 million trade exception to bring in Grimes. That's interesting. So the Bucks are rescinding the qualifying offer for Ryan Rollins. So that makes it a little easier for the Bucks to create the cap space necessary to do all this. Yeah, it's like he has a 2.6 cap hold, but with the incomplete roster charge, they only net 1.3 million in cap space. Yeah. Let's see. So if they take out Rollins, you're looking at yeah, so then they could start Turner even higher, like 2.6. So that makes some room so they can give Micic let Micic keep maybe like 1 million of his buyout. Yeah, this might be how the Bucks do it now, but I would guess that the Bucks did this knowing that they can get Rollins back on the minimum potentially. Guess there's no market above the minimum where that qualifying offer doesn't matter. So yeah, this might be how they do it. Okay. I think Lopez helps a lot because the non-Zubats minutes were a disaster in the playoffs. Their defense fell off a cliff. I think Denver trading Porter was very money motivated. Kroenke is about to spend a fortune on an English soccer team. Yeah, I think the Nuggets are going to try to stay under the tax. I know you probably don't want to hear that if you're a Nuggets fan, but they are 1.4 million below it. They I think they try to move Najee or even stretch him now since teams are just willing to stretch anything. That could give them enough money to bring in another nice player in the short term and then stay below the tax. Nuggets are entering the repeater tax now, so they might want to try to save. They might want to avoid it. Very Bucks-esque. Obviously, the roster is much stronger than the Bucks, but just like the pattern of decision making, it's trying to save money while having the best player in the league. How much money can Sixers offer to Grimes? Which team have enough? I mean, yeah, the Sixers can just they have his bird rights. They can sign him to anything. Are the Heat motivated to waive and stretch Rozier if no trade develops? No, I don't think so. I think that they're in a position now where they can re-sign Duncan Robinson and stay below the tax. So I think they're just going to try to trade Rozier, keep him worst case scenario, and for a trade later. They're fine. No financial pressure to cut him. Will there be other opportunities at this late date for the Nets to use the remaining 17 million cap space to take on contracts for assets as they've been doing? Yep. So Nets update, they have $17 million in cap space after swapping Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. It's a little confusing the way I have it structured, but the best way to look at it is they have 17 million, but they're going to renounce most of these cap holds. Might as well just do it now. I'm going to renounce everybody but Cam Thomas and Etienne. No, I'll just renounce Etienne. He'll probably accept his two-way. So they're looking at about 16 million in cap space right now, 16.1. Well, so they could spend that much and then re-sign Cam Thomas. But if they were to waive all four of these guys, that goes up to about 25 million. So yeah, the Nets can still do another big salary dump. It's interesting. They technically had enough cap space to take on Zeke Naji as well, but good job by the Nets to hold the line at just taking on Michael Porter Jr. Ability for the Magic to do some more things. Mo Wagner because his brother Franz, of course, but what else could be in the works? Duncan Robinson, Trey Mann, Trey Jonathan Isaac. So I went over this yesterday as soon as they agreed to terms with Tyus Jones. Right now they're at 12 players, but just under the luxury tax. I think they're going to want to stay under the luxury tax this year because then they're going to start spending a lot next year. So they still need to fill up 2 roster spots, one of which will probably go to Mo Wagner. I wouldn't be surprised if Mo Wagner got a little more than the minimum, in which case you probably need to trade someone like Isaac to save some money. At a minimum, they can trade Jett Howard to clear his money. I went over the exercise because then what they can do is sign Wagner at the minimum, and then they can sign another vet minimum to replace him, and then fill up the last roster spot with Noah Penda at the rookie minimum. That would put them like just under the luxury tax line. But I think they'll want a little more flexibility, so I could see them looking to trade Isaac. That would help them more. Does Tiero count against the first apron with the rookie minimum? If so, can the Lakers fit the remainder of the non-tax biannual and vet min? No, right now he doesn't count as anything. He's a second round pick exception. It's its own thing. So that's actually better. It's not like the old CBA where you had to, if you wanted to give the rookie, the second round pick, a 3-year deal or more, you had to use part of your cap space or mid-level. So thankfully, Lakers can do all their business and it won't interfere with their mid-level or whatever else they're working with. Only reason I think Lakers might dodge a tax is because they've been in it for 4 years now, so the repeater penalty got kind of crazy. Well, the thing is, it's not kind of crazy. Like, they're in the repeater, yes, but because they're hard capped to the first apron, there's a cap on how much they could really spend. So they still have about 13.9 million in flexibility. So let's say they get up to the first apron, they're only looking at a $25 million repeater tax. That's nothing. So I don't think they mind spending that much. Kroenke hasn't spent $1 this offseason on his Premier League soccer team. Would Nets trade Nick Claxton for an expiring like Rui? I think the Nets would. I don't think the Lakers should do that. They need wings now, defensive wings. Losing Dorian Finney-Smith, I think, is going to hurt them more than like any potential big men signing will help them. Yeah, repeater tax isn't too bad if you're, within the first apron. Jakob Pertl, 4-year extension. I think he can only do 3 years right now. Oh, he has a player option. He's gonna pick it up. That's why. It's a 3-year extension. Yeah, he can only have 3 years. So I think he meant 3 for 104. Let's see, Pertl. What can he get? Um. Okay. The language on this is pretty odd. He got a 3-year, most likely like $89 million extension, but he's saying that he's opting in, which is 19.5 million. So that's a total of 4 for 104. But really, it's like he got like 3 for 80 something. Um, yeah, I got like 3 for 84.5. That's what he got. Pirtle can now not be traded for 6 months. That's all I got to say. Okay. With Houston signing Clint Capella yesterday, when his previous AAV had been north of 20 million with Atlanta, I'm guessing that he simply added depth, and that's Landale. 8 million would be waived. Yeah, I think that all sounds right. We're still waiting to see how exactly Houston's gonna structure all this. I'm anticipating they cut Jock and trade Whitmore. They could technically do something like Nate Williams and sign and trade Dante or McVay, but that would keep them so close to the first apron. They might want the flexibility. They might want to have a little extra flexibility just in case. Yabusele got 2 for 12, which was reported as tax mid-level. Ravia got the same deal, was reported part of the non-tax mid-level. I'm curious if Lakers got him on the tax mid-level and was being rounded up. Yes, I know, but like I said, McMiniman reported that it is part of the big mid-level. So again, it could change. That would probably be something they have to change after the fact. 3 for 85 seems like great value. So yeah, 28 million a year for Pirtle, that puts him on par with like what Jared Allen just got. Actually, a little less than that. So if you want to look at it that way, that's like, I guess, the comparison. That's like the good comparison where Allen's going to average 30 a year on his extension. Pirtle's getting a little bit less. So if you're wondering why the Raptors are extending Pirtle this early with 2 years left on his deal, they probably feel that should be at just under 30 million a year, like a good value for them. Did Toronto already waive some guys, or do they have more than 15 million at the moment? I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they've waived anybody. Here's what I've got. Assuming they sign Elijah Martin to a rookie minimum, they're going to be over the tax. I think Jamison Battle may have had a guaranteed day yesterday. I don't know. I haven't heard anything on that. They're going to do some stuff. Just don't know what. I'd anticipate they're trying to trade RJ Barrett. Maybe there's a deal with the Nets. I was thinking like they would do the the Cam Johnson swap, but that didn't happen. Like if you are the Nets, what would it take to swap Terrence Mann for RJ Barrett and save the Raptors a ton of money? I don't know, something to think about. Sixers signed Janai Broom. I think that's how you pronounce it. Probably the rookie minimum for him. doesn't really impact Sixers apron situation. I'm gonna use the bathroom. Give me a sec. All right. Okay, catching up on the chat. The Toronto, no, okay. Did the Hornets have to guarantee Micic non-guarantee contract to trade him? Can you explain how a little work? So Micic just has a team option. I went over this already, but he has a team option that the Suns had to pick up to trade him for Mark Williams. But it's I don't as far as I know, it's not a it doesn't also have a non-guarantee. I could double check, but I don't think that's the case. Um yeah, so it's just a team option that he picked up. So it's technically supposed to be fully guaranteed, but there's been reports that he's going to head back to Europe, in which case he'll probably give back a substantial amount in a buyout. Um, yeah, so that's just how Mitic works. What do you think the Pistons' plan is? I went over it a couple times. You can check earlier, but I think they're going to be an over the cap team now. So they're going to use the mid level for Karis LeVert, and then keep the bird rights of their other free agents so they can do sign and trades for another guy. Um, could Dame come back to Portland on the mid level, 3 years, 45 million? Yeah, but like I was talking about earlier, if I had to guess, um, I don't think the Lillard signs with anybody right now. I don't see the point. some of that money would get offset anyways. Why not just take the year off, rehab, especially if they're only minimum level offers? Chances are you'll get a better offer next year once you're fully recovered. Battle guaranteed July 10. More ball handlers for the Nets. Don't tempt them. I could see RJ to Sacramento. I don't, unless it's for like Levine. But the Raptors need to save money, so that doesn't make sense for them. I kind of like Barrett in Minnesota if they can make that work. Toronto get DiVincenzo and Conley in the Nets cap. I have to disagree. I don't think Barrett's a good fit in Minnesota with what they've got going on. The way the Lakers free agency is going, I think it's a good idea to go back to the trading machine for LeBron. Hold on a second. I think we have a Duncan Robinson update. Okay, Anthony Chang tweeted 45 minutes ago. It's trending towards Duncan Robinson not returning to the Heat. According to source, could end up at a sign and trade with a new team or could sign elsewhere outright. The Pistons have been reportedly pursuing Robinson. So yeah, that's probably a sign and trade involving. Hopefully, the Pistons could still turn the Schroeder sign and departing to the Kings into a sign and trade in which they could use his money towards Duncan Robinson. Best trade for LeBron and Lakers is Mavs. Lakers get Christie back, Gafford, PJ Washington, Najee Marshall. That would be something. So in 26-27, the Raptors have on the books Barnes at their $42 million. Ingram. Okay, I'll pull it up because someone's asking about it. Ingram, Barrett. Yeah. If you want to look at the Raptors books right now, I have a lot of money dedicated to all these guys, and Perta will make more after this year. After that year, I think they're gonna look to try to trade Barrett or Ingram probably soon. Dan Woik. Sources tell me that in addition to DeAndre Ayton, the Lakers are still evaluating other options in free agency and via trade. Obviously, a crucial decision for the Lakers. Would expect an answer in the upcoming days. So that to SD Hydro's Lakers, Mavs LeBron trade. LeBron gets to play with Kyrie, Davis, Flag, and play for with Olympic teammate Jason Kidd and longtime rival Klay Thompson. Makes sense for both Lakers and Mavs. Yeah, when you connect all those dots, it definitely makes sense for LeBron. It'd be so weird if the Lakers do trade LeBron to the Mavs and basically like the Mavs and Lakers just end up swapping teams through two different trades. Can you name some potential teams who have space to land Hauser or Niang? The Nets, obviously. Pacers now. Warriors, Pistons, a lot of teams. Nuggets. A lot of teams. Like if you guys look at my go on my Twitter and look at my spending tiers, look at the tweet. I'll even pin it right now so you all can see it. Give me a second. Yeah, I posted it 3 hours ago. The spending tiers obviously needs to be a little updated now with the Bucks being a cap space team. But you could see there's that graphic I have that shows all the teams that have that are below the apron. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like 22 teams that technically have room for to take in like a mid-level-ish guy in a trade. Who do you think would be suitors for Barry? I just think it's the Nets, to be honest. Maybe the Bulls. What's the most a player can make without triggering the waiting period to be traded again? It's not really about the most, it's also the years. So it needs to be within 3 years, including the current season. So that Pirtle's contract violated that. By now, he's on a 5-year deal. You need 120% raise on the first year. That Pirtle's deal is definitely like above that. The raise is higher than 120%, and then 5% raises, which we'll see. Do you have a big board of remaining free agents in your opinion on likely destinations based on cap situations? Glad to have found your channel. Thank you, Javier. I don't have a board, like an updated one. And to be honest, I don't care to, this free agency class is like the role player free agency class, the most ultimate role player class where I'm not even motivated to update the list. Still no decision from Horford. He's holding up free agency queue. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what Horford gets. Seems like the floor for him is that tax mid-level, that 2 for 12, maybe with the Warriors. Let's see, maybe the Pacers get involved now. Lakers can, if they lose out on Aiden, they would probably get involved. Horford might make a good amount of money. Like this guy, undefeated at getting paid. Still no decision from Horford. Oh yeah, I just went over that. Imagine how insane it would be for Rob Pelinka to arrive at training camp without being able to add a big starter to the roster. I don't think that's that crazy. Last offseason, Lakers didn't do like a single transaction in the offseason. Would not surprise me. Okay, let's see what else is happening. Interesting. There's been zero word on Giddey resigning. Would have thought that would be done pretty early in the free agency. I disagree. I'm more surprised that we haven't heard about Paolo, Jabbar, Chet, and Jalen Williams. I would have thought those would have been announced by now. Those are like the most likely max deals. Those usually get done first, and then guys like Giddey, Dyson Daniels, that'll probably get done. The non-max ones would get done closer to the deadline at the start of the season. Windhorst doesn't rule out Al Horford for the Lakers. Quote, he would be a perfect fit for Lakers, not necessarily as a starter. Horford is a name I'm certain the Lakers have interest in. Yeah. If they lose out on Aiden, I think that he's probably number one on their board. So it seems the Magic need to make a trade to bring in Tyus. What's it gonna be? Probably one of or a combination of Jet, Isaac, and Goga, right? I think Isaac and Jet for sure. Jet at a minimum, but I think to be safe, they want to move Isaac at this point. Yeah. Then they could elevate the Silva, allow him to be the primary forward off the bench. Will many of these announced deals be bundled into larger deals? Will we get more of these 5, 6, 7 team trades on July 7th? I think so. For sure at some of them. What trades do we have? The KD trade is still out. That's still waiting to be official. That could be expanded. Like even these signings, like a lot of these signings can be turned into sign and trades, whether that is Myles Turner, that could become a sign and trade. Everything that's not official yet can turn into an expanded trade or a sign and trade for sure. Does Defensive Player of the Year give any bonus to Dyson's salary, or is that just for max players? I believe so. Yeah, I think he would have to get the max contract first, though. That's the thing where it's unlikely. Where one, he needs to have a max contract negotiated, get the 25% max, and then if he wins Defensive Player of the Year, it can get boosted to the 30% max. More likely, that would factor into the third contract, where if he gets Defensive Player of the Year in like his 7th season, then he would qualify for the Supermax. Sounds like Duncan Robinson to the Pistons potentially in a sign and trade. Jalen Williams will be reevaluated in 12 weeks. Okay. Who's authorizing a new 4-year deal for Pirtle in Toronto? Webster must have some pretty good job security. I don't. They love Pirtle. So roughly, how many teams have we got hoping to use the Nets cap space at the moment? At least Memphis, Toronto, and Orlando, I imagine. Yeah. No, I think that's exactly. Those are the three suspects. Memphis, they're gonna probably dump um, Cole Anthony. By the way, I made a projection on I posted on Twitter for Jaren Jackson's potential renegotiation. I mean, I could show you guys here. I want to go over it. I like it. I like what I came up with. Where so Jaren has he has a $23.4 million salary. So the idea is that if they salary dump Cole Anthony, they're gonna have 16.2 million in cap space, in which case they can boost Jaren's number up to this 39.7. I think if you're Memphis, you want to get the first year salary as high as possible so you can reduce the later years, get it couple percentage points below the max. So they agreed to 5 for 240. That means he's going to get a total of $240 million over these 5 seasons, including the current one that's about to get a bump. So that means you're giving him roughly 40 million in the first year, and then an average of then 200 over the next 4 years. That it would help the Grizzlies keep his salary a little bit below the max in the future years, but not too low where they could still extend it in the future and avoid this issue that they had where they couldn't extend Jaren Jackson Jr. right now properly. This Grizzlies sheet is a mess. I have Aldama starting high. I think they're gonna front load it, start him at 19 million, and then descend. Ty Jerome got the room at level, so after they use their cap space on Jaren Jackson Jr., they're going to re-sign Aldama because they have enough cap space while keeping his cap hold, so they can go over the cap to resign him, and then after using cap space, they can use the room at level 3 for 27, 3 for 28 for Ty Jerome, which is pretty good value considering he was being pegged as a full mid-level guy. I wouldn't have really liked that contract. So good on the Grizzlies to get him. Though, if there's any Cavs fans, I want to know how you feel because Ty Jerome ended up getting an average of like $9 million a year. And then they ended up re-signing Sam Merrill to, just a little bit less. What do you guys think about that? If you were the Cavs, would you rather have used that money for Merrill or Ty Jerome? I think I kind of like what the Cavs did a little more because they needed a point of attack defender. When they're fully healthy in the playoffs, they're not going to be playing Mitchell. They're not going to be playing Jerome in the playoffs that much. So in which case, why pay him a lot of money? Why not keep the specialist who has some, decent ball handling, facilitating, passing, but then you get your point of attack defender. You save money by getting off Okoro. I understand what the Cavs did. I think it makes sense, but I also understand if people are kind of puzzled by the choice between choosing Merrill over Ty Jerome. Oh, shoot. I was putting the wrong cap sheet for you guys this whole time. Given the current market, is the expectation that the Cam Thomas number comes in close to Aldama's? I think so. Maybe a little higher, but I think so. I think maybe now closer to his. I'm not a Cavs fan, but Merrill feels like a much more useful player rotation guy compared to Jerome. I think it's just about the Cavs getting something they didn't have, which was a perimeter defender, point of attack defender in Lonzo. I want to show the Grizzlies thing because I messed that up. Yeah, I think they're going to start Jaren at something like this, really high, They can give him a salary this high if they salaried them. Cole Anthony would let him start it at this number. Then they can go over the cap to re-sign Aldama and give Ty Jerome the room mid-level. If they dump Cole Anthony, they get 16.2 million in cap space, in which case they can raise Jaren's salary by that much and get it up to here. And then in subsequent seasons, you're giving him a little bit less in the max. So I have a feeling that's a projection I'm going with right now. We'll find out exactly what it is. All right, guys. I think I'm going to have to go. I've been on for 2 hours, but my son is waking up. So this was a lot of fun, everyone. Thanks for joining again. Maybe I'll do another one of these later today. If there's still a lot more stuff to happen, maybe tomorrow. So, I'll be pretty flexible about this, but thanks for joining, everyone. Thanks for the questions. I got to go be with my son. Thanks, everyone.